I used to think that I was unworthy of love, that I was unlovable, even ugly. Of course, I'm not, but why did I even think like this in the first place and for so long? Now, I think it started when I spent too much time online, scrolling through social media, watching red pill creators, black pill creators, and so on. And well, instead of helping me, they didn't really help me improve. They, in fact, made me feel much worse about myself. Like, I wasn't good enough, and I kept comparing myself to guys who were far more successful than me, who had more money, more girls, more muscles, more everything. And the more I watched, the more I believed that I was a loser. And I'm definitely not a loser. I'm very far from it. I'm definitely a person who hasn't given up in life. You know, like one of those NEETs. Yeah, that's not me, and I'm hoping that isn't you too. See, I have goals. I go to the gym. I keep doing stuff. I'm learning every day, and I'm pushing myself to grow. So why was I even stuck in that mindset? You're not hopeless, like me. See, the thing is, I've been on dates before. It's only 3, but it's better than 1, and that is better than none. But you know, those dates don't really go anywhere, sure, but just the fact that someone said yes to me shows that I'm not some hideous troll that no one wants to talk to. There are women out there who are happy to talk to me and who do find me attractive or cute. That alone, breaks the lie that I would often tell myself. And the lie was that I was unlovable, if that wasn't clear before. Anyway, this year, I decided to try something again. This was a challenge that I set myself up to do a while back. It's called the 100 People Challenge. And yes, I tried it before, but I only got up to maybe 30 people to meet. And I had to be the one to initiate the conversation. But I only got up to 30 people and I got rejected and I got discouraged. I suppose back then I didn't have the right mindset. This year is different. I have already spoken to about 50 people this year and they're just strangers. They're anyone really, and out of those 50 strangers I have asked out about 9 girls. At the time of recording it's probably still 9. But yeah, some were not interested, some were taken, and some were cold. What I learned from those interactions was that it did not kill me. In fact, the more I did it, the more I realized that even rejection doesn't really hurt once you stop giving it so much power. And then, when you can make a girl smile by just telling them you think that they are attractive, and just seeing them light up, seeing them smile, it's one of the best feelings ever. Just to see them smile at me by something I said, it's one of the best feelings I've ever experienced. Even though it usually ends with a polite, I have a boyfriend or I have a partner or something like that, it's worth it. It really is to me. I've realized I'm not doing this for approval. I'm doing this to become the kind of person who takes action when he sees something he wants, instead of just like being paralyzed and constantly thinking, what if I did this or that? No, I want to be someone who takes action, and you should be too. So what changed in my mindset? My mentality, of course, but here is what I started doing. First, I started to talk to people without expecting anything in return. By that, I mean Don't say, hey, nice shirt, and then expect them to say nice shirt back. That's expecting something in return. No, you say they have a nice shirt and you move on. Unless you can continue the conversation, then great. Number 2, I was asking out girls without being afraid of rejection. So anytime I saw a girl that I found attractive, I just go for it. And I don't always go for it. It's still pretty scary, but I still do it. And for some of the best conversations, I say what is on my mind while being respectful. Remember that, guys. Of course, starting conversations because I'm genuinely curious, not because I want something. So if you see someone with a cool water bottle, cool tattoo, a cool pair of shoes, or I don't know, something along those lines, ask them about it. That may go into a conversation that lasts much longer than you expected, and that is fun and satisfying. And it's helped me realize that this whole thing isn't really about dating. It's about confidence, about being a person who moves forward instead of just waiting and, just waiting for the right moment. No, you just go for it. Here's one of the easiest way I've found to talk to people. I first will compliment something about them. I obviously mentioned this before, but I'm gonna be a bit specific in this section. So first, I find something to compliment them about. For me, it's usually tattoos. If they don't have a tattoo, could be something they're wearing, a phone case, maybe they're in the gym and you see them lifting some heavy ass weights. Then just talk to them about it. How long did it take to get that strong? And you'll be surprised how conversations can flow when you actually interact with a person who is, more than happy to talk to you. And I say that because there are many people who are, non-responsive or not receptive. And you have to take that in you're trying to talk to people, because some people just don't want to talk, and that's okay. That's why you always move on. And more examples of how I talk to people in the gym specifically. This can be used outside the gym, but obviously these are what I usually say. And it's, what are you training today? How long have you been training here? How's your progress been going? And so on. You can probably come up with a few of your own, but that's some of the starters I say. It's mostly for making friends, but for romance, I usually go with, hi, I just want to let you know that I think you're very attractive. And then boom, the biggest smile you've ever seen. And then, yep, okay, they're not single, okay. Anyways, so yeah, it's just simple stuff. Try not to sound scripted. Just try to be present and be yourself, be human, and yeah, with the right person, these conversations should flow really well and easily. Why it's worth it? Well, I won't lie. Approaching people can be heart-racing scary, especially when you've been socially isolated for years like myself. But when someone remembers your name, and when you make a stranger smile, when you feel like you're part of something like a tribe, it's all worth it. Even those awkward conversations when you're first starting, even with those people who don't respond very well, for every person who brushes you off, there's someone who sees you and you see them. Every time I've tried to talk to someone new, whether it's to ask them out or make a new friend, I have never regretted it. Even if it goes nowhere, even if it felt off, it's worth it because I tried. And trying helps you figure out what doesn't work, which brings you closer to what does. So I'll say this, say what's on your mind, talk to that new person, and take that step. Because living with regret hurts way more than having a few awkward conversations. If you're only 30 wrong actions away from finding your people, how fast do you think you'd be willing to fail? Because every no brings you one step closer to that one yes. Every awkward moment sharpens your confidence over time. And the fastest way to the life that you want is through action. So, if you are watching this and you think that you're not enough or that love just isn't in the cards for you, well, I want you to know that you are wrong because you just haven't tried enough or tried with the right mindset. It's not about getting every person to like you. It's about liking yourself enough to keep showing up. So go out, say something, start something. You might find love tomorrow or you may not, but you will find yourself along the way. And apparently that's where love is supposed to start anyway, with yourself. So they say, of course. To end it here, of course, be your own hero.
A great success.
Nice.